Welcome to Paranormal UK Radio with your hosts, Irene and Mark and Mark Johnson.
Hello everybody, this is Irene Allen Block from Paranormal UK Radio, the flagship show on the Paranormal UK Radio network, and I'm here tonight with Mark Johnson, my co-host.
Hello, welcome back from the Amalfitani coast.
Oh, thank you very much. You were hoping I was going to stay out there, I know that.
Me? I would never do that, no. We're so happy to have you back.
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
You know what? You liked running the shows for the last couple of weeks. You were quite happy with Andy. I must say thank you to Andy for standing in. And Andy is their guest co-host on the show.
Andy Mercer. Yes, Andy did a brilliant job on our last two shows while you were sitting in the piazza. Brilliant. You were sitting in the piazza drinking Prosecco. You know, enjoying yourself while we're out here slaving for our radio show.
I was thinking of you. I've got to admit, I was thinking of you, and I wasn't laughing. And yes, I was. I was laughing because you're stuck there doing the radio show, and I was having such great fun in Italy, in the south of Italy.
Well, you know what? You have to go and enjoy yourself, so I can't fault you on that one. Now, I did hear that you saw lots of ghosts and spirits while you were there.
I saw some really, really strange things. You know, it's the first night out there, I saw something going on where my apartment was. It overlooked down the mountainside to the Amalfi itself, and also to the beach. And way out at sea, I saw these strange lights. They were I can't explain them. I stood out on the balcony because I went out. The other half, my insignificant other, was in bed asleep, and I went out there for a ciggy. And it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, I suppose, 4 o'clock in the morning. And these lights were just coming across through the air and diving sort of into the water. Well, that's what it looked like to me. So it was a lovely moonlight night.
So not only did you see ghosts, you saw UFOs.
Ghosts?
Did you?
No. Oh, I thought you said goats.
No,
sorry.
Goats, yeah.
Saw plenty of mules out there, but goats, no.
No goats floating about over the ocean.
Yeah, so are they UFOs? I didn't know whether they were UFOs or not, or whether it was just some strange anomaly. You know, I hadn't been drinking because it was the first night out there. So I hadn't had a drink or anything like that. I'd only had coffee and one thing. I'd had too much espresso coffee, so that's one of the reasons I couldn't sleep that night. Yeah, so I saw that, and then I saw an apparition. Same night, I was standing there on the balcony still, having my ciggy, and I looked down towards the road below, and I saw someone walk along it, and I knew instantly that this was not somebody that was living, you know.
Well, how could you tell the difference?
Sorry, can anyone hear Gertie snoring in the background as usual? This is how I'm back.
Yep. The official Paranormal UK Radio Network mascot and diva.
Diva. So how could I tell? It's a feeling you get. You just know whether this was.
But did the person look solid? Did they look like a regular person? Did they see through colors?
No. You see it psychically in your head. So, you know, I could see everything about this person as if they looked like a regular person, but there is something that you know inside your mind that this is not a regular person. So I just watched it, and then that was that. I went to bed, gave up, went to bed. That was the first night. A bit later on, there was... it's hard to explain because... Pontoni, where I stay, is a medieval town. Hamlet. It's a hamlet, medieval. And wherever you go, you see it. Wherever I go, you see strange stuff, you know. So they're walking through these little cobblestone back streets of Pontoni at night, no one around, just late at night. And I saw someone coming towards me. Again, I knew it wasn't, and my husband didn't see it. And it just passed by, and that was a female, or felt like a female as it went past. Then we went down to Amalfi on another night, and there is all these weird walkways that they're like tunnels, but they're not tunnels. They're all at the back end and the back streets of Amalfi, and they go all the way around Amalfi, and there's shops in them, and there's cafes, but they're little narrow walkways that are kind of covered, like the ceilings are like domes, you know. And I walked past one in there, and I got the feeling that this one was a prostitute. It was just standing there and kind of in an alcove, as if it was waiting for something or other. And I felt that was a prostitute. And on the last night, we had to get up very, very early in the morning to get ready for the transfer back to the airport. And it wasn't quite daylight. It was beginning, but it wasn't quite daylight. And I looked down again on the road, and there was two men standing there. They looked like, one of them looked like he had a T-shirt on and short trousers, shorts. And the other one was standing, and they weren't moving. They were silent. They were like statues. They're standing looking out at the sea. And I said to my husband, is that Carmine's brother down there? Thinking that, you know, maybe his brother had got up early to attend the gardens on the mountainsides or something like that. And he said, down where? So I said, down there. I said, by that car, right by the wing mirror, that car that's jutting out a little bit. I can't see anything, he said. I said, yes, you can. I said, there. They were as solid as, honestly, Mark, they were as solid as me and you, these two. But he never saw them. He couldn't see them. And we argued about it for about 5 minutes. And there's me trying. I said, what have I got to do? Go bloody down there and put my hand on these people so you can see them? And he said, I can't see them. And there's no one down there, Irene. But, you know, I saw them.
Well, that's
I
fascinating.
saw them standing there, but they were like, they never moved. That's the only strange thing about it. It was like they were statues, but they were, you know, they were dead still, but they were solid, and I could see all the features, and they were just looking down the mountainside towards the sea.
You know, it comes back to, when you think about it, is it a spirit of someone who's died and they're still hanging around, or because that they're so still? Does it go back to this whole interdimensional theory that we discussed before about possibly a bleed over, a time bleed over or something?
Could be. It could well be something like that. But, you know, like I said, they never moved. All the time I stood watching them, they never moved, but they were there. That's fascinating. Never moved. They never turned to each other or spoke or nothing. They just stood. It was that was about, I think that, you know, I see them all the time, so it really doesn't worry me. But if I had to put that on a scale, a fear scale of 1 to 10, I would say that was about a 6, because it just gave me that eerie feeling. Yeah. Well, very cool. Well, if you're going to see ghosts, Europe is the place to see them. Yeah, it certainly is. Absolutely. We got lots of them over here.
Yes, you do. You also have divas over there.
Yes, we have. We have a diva. And many of you may have seen our little diva on Facebook wearing her sunglasses. She was on the beach. We took her to Tenby on Sunday. We took it yesterday. Was it? No, it's Saturday. Sorry, I'm getting my days muddled up now. I don't even know what today is. We took her to Tenby in Wales, which had got absolutely beautiful sandy beaches. And everywhere she went, people stopped. They wanted to chat to her. They wanted to touch her. You know, she is the mascot for the Paranormal UK radio network. So she's got quite a fan club. She's the she's well known for snoring in the background of most of the shows. And then we put these sunglasses on her, and she walked around for about 2.5 hours wearing these sunglasses, and she was quite happy about it. And people were coming from all over the beach and everywhere, wanting to take photographs of her. That they thought it was so cute, Mark. She did look cute, and you've seen the photographs. She looks cute, didn't she?
Oh, she's adorable.
And there's some of her on surfboards, bodyboards, and one thing or another. You can just more or less do anything with Gertie if she thinks she's going to get a biscuit at the end or something. But no, she just wandered everywhere around the beach with these sunglasses on, and there was some sort of film crew down there, and even they had to film her. So, she's a diva.
Yep, she is. She loves the attention.
Yeah, she certainly does.
Now that you're back,
typical English bulldog.
Now that you're back, we have a show to do. So why don't we get this show on the road? Who's our guest for this evening?
Our guest tonight wrote a book called A Guest in My House. Our guest is David Guddy Jnr. Sorry, David.
That's okay.
It's a lovely name, but there's so many pronunciations of it.
Oh, I know.
Anyway, it's a gripping story of ghosts, evil spirits, demons, and communicating with them. Is that right, David?
Yes, it is.
Well, I'm not going to say any more about it because I want you to tell the story, because you'll be able to give it what it deserves more than I can. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, when did you write this book? It's your second book, isn't it?
Yeah, I wrote Matters of the Heart, which is a book of poems I released in 2009. That book was released. This one was released in June of 2015.
Yeah.
So it's available on paperback and ebook.
Okay, and what led you to write this book?
I had been hearing things in my house and seeing things on the walls and stuff, and I started off with a Ouija board in the house, and communicating and things, and then I eventually got a digital recorder because I heard things in my laundry room, voices and things like that. So
that's what I want to talk to you about later, because while I was away in Italy, there was a lot of voices heard in conversations going on in my house.
Right. Yeah, it got to be a little crazy because I could hear these voices, and sometimes doors would open and shut by themselves, and you'd feel a cold breeze come by you, but there's no windows open, or anything like that. So I got into it, and I had experienced things like this before, but in the house I lived in at the time when I wrote the book, it was very prominent. I mean, they were coming through, a lot. And I had started listening to the voices and things like that. And then I had one of the spirits come through, and actually I started to hear the voices on my own. And the spirit tells me, look, your backyard has a natural energy field in the back where all these spirits gather. And that's why you have spirits, they come in your house.
Do you think the house was built on ley lines?
It was, yes. It was on, there was a natural energy field. They said that it was built on, and I guess not too many people knew about it. But there were the ghosts and the spirits always gathered there. On Friday nights, you would have witches on the first Friday of every month. Witches and demons would gather, and they would kind of shoo off all the spirits. So when I was writing the book, we'd have the spirits come in the house. And then I had the idea to write the book, where I would go out there and ask them to come in and also, as a guest in my house, to sit down with me, because I had questions I wanted to get answered. I was brought up Baptist, and we knew, you think, you die, you go to heaven or you go to hell or whatever, but no one knew exactly what happened. So what I wanted to do, and I wanted to find out. So what I found out was that when we die, there's an angel that'll meet us when we die, and then you have a choice to go to the light, which will put you either heaven or hell, or you can stand back from the light and stay on earth and travel. And you might want to watch your kids grow up, but you can't make a change in their life. You can sit back and watch your grandkids, your children. You can watch them all grow up, but like I said, you're not allowed to make changes in their life. But you can observe.
So there's like rules and regulations attached to this. Then.
Mm-hmm. And then there's rules. The angel gives you rules, and what you're allowed to do and what you can't do and can do. Yeah. And so, but I started talking to all these spirits. A lot of them had, they all. It sounds almost repetitious, but a lot of them, went to the light, and then you pick it up from there. Either they didn't go into the light or they stayed back. And then their stories go from there, and then they're all different.
David,
is there any one particular one that actually stood out?
Oh, there's several. I probably interviewed over 70 spirits in the time of that book, and took their stories down. What I did when I took their stories down, I had told them I had wanted to talk to them about what would happen in the afterlife. That my readers and I would want to know, how they died, when they died, and what's happening over there on the other side right now. And a lot of the questions were answered. I had children that came through, I had older people that came through and talked to me, and told me how they watched their children, and that sleeping, they still sleep out of habit. So they might go to a vacant to a vacant house and just sleep there for the night, or go to their relatives and sleep on the couch. And they can travel too. They travel by thinking about where they want to go. My mom had passed away in 2014, and in the middle of me writing this book. So of course I talked to her about it, and I was very intrigued about, if she died, I want to know, because she was going to die, soon. She had cancer, lymph node cancer, so she was going to pass away. So she ended up passing away before thank you. But she passed away, but I had a chance to talk to her before, and I told her everything that I was writing about, and that she was going to have a choice at this and with the angels, and she was taking all the sin. And I said, when you die, I want you to come back and let me know that you passed. Because we lived about 45 minutes from each other, and kind of let me know, what's going on. So we had talked to her about her. I told her about the lights and things that she would see. So it was on that day she had passed away. I came home. Me and my brother came home from the hospital, and we were so exhausted of staying there. And the nurses had said that she could pass at any time. She's going to pass, but usually that the patients would like to have all the relatives out of here, then they'll pass when nobody's around.
Yeah.
I said, well, that makes sense. Okay. So I went home, and my brother went home, and it was about I got home. We left there about 6:00 or something. I got home. I was resting. I was just exhausted. Then I got a phone call from the hospital saying, look, David, you better get up here. She's going to pass. She's not doing good. So if you want to get up here, you can get up here. So I got dressed, and I went out to the car, and me and my girlfriend went out. And while I'm getting into the car, I got another phone call from the hospital stating that she had just passed away. And it was 8:00 when I looked down at the clock, and my phone it was 8:00 at night when she passed away. So I get in the car, and we had to get gas, in the vehicle before we went any further. So we went on our way to the gas station. I had an iPhone, and my phone starts going crazy. I mean, all these zeros come up, like somebody's calling me, but where it says like your phone number you would see, it was nothing but zeros. So I'm like, So parked we were getting gas. My girlfriend was pumping the gas. I was inside the car, and it says, here comes a text message. It says, I go with you. I'm like, I go with you. I go with you, and I started feeling some things. Then I noticed this was my mom coming through, because me and my girlfriend could hear her talking, and she says, oh my God, David, your mother's here. And I started talking to my mom, and she's saying, oh my God, everything you told me about how I would die, and all the lights and the angels, all that's true. I can't believe all the lights I'm seeing right now. So she said, and she was talking about, well, how do I get to, my sister lives in Montana. My brother lives in Cleveland, which is in Ohio also.
Yeah.
You know, and he says, how do I get there? You know, I remember, Mom, I told you, think about where they live. I said, and just shut your eyes and concentrate on going there. So it wasn't 15 minutes later, 10 minutes later, my brother calls me. You're not going to believe this. He goes, I can feel Mom's here right now. Mom's here. I'm like, wow, how exciting is that, you know? And he could actually feel her presence and kind of see her, you know? Then my sister, she went to my sister's house. But see, my sister was supposed to come here and see my mom off. Me and my brother had sat with her for so long while she, you know, when she was dying. But my sister didn't make it from Montana. It was a bad snowstorm, whatever. She couldn't make it. So my mom ends up going over to her house, and she had luggage that was set up. And all of a sudden, the luggage starts moving, it starts being tossed about. There was some things on top of the refrigerator that got knocked off. A treadmill that wasn't even plugged in started running. Things were just all moved about, her pictures and things like that. And I told my sister, I called her and talked to her. I said, you know what? You didn't make it up here, so Mom was upset. I said that you didn't try to make it up here. You know, you said goodbye on your phone. I said, but it wasn't like me and Daryl were here for her and telling her goodbye as we sat next to her as she died. So it was pretty interesting to see her outraged at my sister. You know, I mean, just because I get a little disappointed, I could tell my sister was always the favorite, you know, but she's dying, and here she is in Montana. My mom's here in a Cleveland hospital.
So your mum showed her a disappointment in it. Well,
yes.
Many people feel their loved ones not long after that, within say a week of them passing over. They, you know, they get the feeling that they're around, or they get some sort of sign. But for your mother to actually let you know what she actually experienced, that is a first, as far as I'm concerned. That's very, very, you know, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. You know, you expect to see, you expect, especially if you're very psychic, which you obviously are. You know, you expect to know when they're about, when they're around you.
I asked her to let me know.
But specifically, she let you know that you were correct in what you were telling her. So that was, you know, that makes you really think that, you know, maybe all our ideas about what it is like crossing over the other side and everything could well be right.
And she stayed over she did visit out for a while, but then I found out, you know, she did cross over. She stayed here for a couple of days. Then she was able to cross over and go through her light, where she had passed on to heaven, you know, where the angels told me that she was with my father. So it was a blessing to know that. But being able to tell her about my book and to have her have that experience where she said, you know, I've seen everything you're talking about. All the lights, they're everywhere. She was the angel. It was your angel that stayed with me when I died. There was an angel there. And when he told me that you were supposed to come with him, and your angel brought me to you for me to see you and talk to you, you know, before I moved on. Like that was amazing. It was a very, very good blessing. And to be in the middle of writing that book and to be able to talk to her about it openly, you know, and get her views on it and let her know what was coming up for her. So
it's amazing. So your book is a compilation. Oh Christ, I can't say this. Pudding crap.
Compilation.
Of various experiences and stories from these ghosts that you interviewed. You know, you're like a journalist, aren't you, for the other side?
Well, pretty much. I would walk in my backyard. Me and my girlfriend would walk in the back, and I had my notebook. And we got to where we could hear them. We went out there with a recorder at first, an EVP, so we can get their voices on the recorder. We did that at first. Then we got where we could hear them without the recorder. So then they would, you know, we'd say, hey, anybody want to tell a story? I'm looking for some stories about the other side. You know, what's it like on the other side? I want to know when and where you died from. I want your full name. So in case when somebody buys this book, there might be a relative that they can recognize your name, your full name, and where you came from. And they might be related to you and might want to know more about where you're at and how you're doing. So they all agreed to that. So we would go in the house, and I met so many people, I can't even begin to tell you. In the book, I met some people that were from Ohio, met some from Canada. I met some that had traveled all over. I had an older woman that come in. She said she had been in the pyramids over in Egypt. She said, I always wanted to be in the pyramids, and I wanted to see what it was like. She goes, I have this opportunity, so I went ahead and went in, and when no one else could go in there. So I thought that was pretty interesting. If that's what you wanted to do, I mean, you're passed on, so it's like you almost had free travel arrangements. But it was crazy. But yeah, they would go anywhere they wanted to. They just had to sit there and think about it. Like if I was your son and I died, and I'm like, how am I gonna get back to my mom's house? All I do is think about your house or where you live, and you're pretty much teleported there. You're not gonna walk. You're just like there. I mean, so you can pop in, if you will. And your nose still works. I had people stop, that were talking to me. I smell coffee. Can you make a pot of coffee when I come in? We would make a pot of coffee for these people, for these ghosts, these spirits to smell. And I had one guy even ask me, do you have any brandy? I'm like, yeah, I do. A bourbon? I'm like, yeah. He says, I can't drink it, but I can smell it. She says, could you pour me a shot of bourbon? So I got the bourbon out. We got inside and we talked. And he said, how good. And he told me, he goes, it smells so good to smell the bourbon again.
I can just imagine this ghost with his nose in the glass having a good sniff.
Oh, yeah, he was smelling it. He said, it smells so good. He says, I haven't had a drink and I've been dead for this long, but I still remember what it smells like. I used to drink it all the time. And then we had another girl pop in. We were cooking popcorn while we were, getting ready to talk to some people. And I had this girl come through. She goes, I had to come in. She goes, I smelled the fresh popcorn. She said, I haven't had popcorn in so long. I love it, So she's talking to us about, her situation. Here she was shot and killed accidentally. Her boyfriend was like a drug dealer or something. And what had happened, he was cleaning his guns. And his gun went off and accidentally shot her and killed her. So they had followed her to the morgue and thing. Hooked up with someone from the police department that was like a medium where they could hear her talking, and she cleared her boyfriend's name because they were gonna arrest him that he killed her, like murdered her, but he didn't. It was an accident. So her being able to talk and come through to the medium that was working with the police, helped save him from going to jail. So I thought that was interesting, but all because I had some popcorn. She wanted to come in and talk to me about it and share a story. So, but there were so many stories like that.
Well, David, let me ask you a question because I was a little confused from the beginning of the show, and Irene was asking a lot of questions on the method that you're using to talk to people. Are you saying you're using a Ouija board, or how are you talking to these spirits?
No. I started off with a Ouija board, and because I wanted to find out something in my house. I started off with the Ouija board. And then I went to that wasn't working so good, but then I went to an EVP. I went to a digital recorder, and I was using the digital recorder, and I got some devastating EVPs that were very strong. Like I'm talking to you on the phone. This guy, the spirit named Jimmy, was telling me he came through first, and there was 5 spirits in the house at the time. And they were stuck in my house. How I don't know, but they were told me they were stuck there. So I'm like, started getting their stories. Then they were telling me that in the backyard was an energy. That's how I found out about the energy field. They had told me there was a natural energy field in the back where there was more ghosts, more spirits feeding on that energy field, and they would come in and out of the house at will. So, but we started off with. We would even use crystals. We would use the pendulum to first start off and communicate using yes, maybe, no. Then a Ouija board. Then eventually got the EVP thing going. Then we went to where we could just hear them. So, and then we'd go out and bring them in the house and talk to them one-on-one.
Now, so, I'm going to ask a question, and it's not. I don't want you to take it as a slight against you in any way, but I know a lot of people listening to the show are probably going to ask this question. How do you know that you're talking to the people that they say who they are? And the reason I ask that question is because I've heard a lot about spirits who can mimic, especially darker spirits, and that have been known to mimic other people by mimicking voices on recorders or coming through Ouija boards, pretending to be something that they're not in order to gain entrance. And then shortly after that, things start turning negative. So I guess my question to you is, how do you have a way to tell the difference, to confirm who it is you're talking to?
Yes. This is going to sound a little bit crazy, but
throw it out there.
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
No, I was just being joking. I was saying, well, throw it out there. That's what the show is for.
Oh, okay. Well, here it comes. I had kind of almost been. I was under so much protection with writing this book from God. And if you read the book, if you know any little about the book, there's entities that we talk to later on that people would be scared to even try to talk to these entities. But we had protection spells from God, and I felt like God was helping me write this book because I felt there was a need for people to kind of know what was going on from the other side. I'm not claiming to be a prophet or anything like that, but I felt that there was a need that God was kind of overseeing the production of this book and helping me talk to these spirits, because I know when I had the talking to the demons and things like that, the entities and the 12 fallen gods, I had definitely had protection. I knew God was there, and I had a ton of angels around me. But I trusted in these spirits were telling me the truth because I knew God was over it, and I didn't plan on getting deceived. I mean, in any way. I mean, I know it's possible, but from the stories that they came from, and these were just people that passed away. I mean, here for one, I was able to look up the names and find out who they were. So they were telling the truth. I had one of the spirits that was buried in a graveyard a quarter of a mile from my house. We looked her up on the internet, and sure as hell, she was there. It was the same woman. I did some searching on my own when I got these names to find out their stories. Because like I said, I've got their full name. I got their where they died, when they died, what year they died. And these people know time. You know, you would think, oh, they're spirits. They don't know nothing. They're just, no, these people know what president was in office. These ghosts, these spirits knew what time it was, what season it was. They were intelligent spirits. They weren't just like a ghost, down the street haunting a house. They knew what time it was. And that fascinated me, that the spirits would know what time it was, who was in office, if he was a Democrat or Republican. It was crazy. But these things, I did the research on my own and found out that they were true.
Yeah. David, there is another way, if you're a very strong psychic medium, you can feel their vibration, and you're able to tell then, because a lot of these tricksters, they come through just as children or something like that. But even we in life, if you think about us in life, you can tell the vibration of a child standing behind you and the vibration of an adult standing behind you.
Correct.
And it's the same thing. When you're a strong medium or you're very, very strong psychic, you can actually read those vibrations. You can tell. So, if you're good enough, there is no mistakes.
I felt like I was right on, and even my mother. I knew it was my mother when she came through.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think that there was a trickster behind her, and saying, this is your mother, but I'm not really, and I'm going to hurt you. And I didn't get that feeling at all. I knew that was Mom.
Yeah, because you're able to read your mother's vibration.
Well,
so,
yes.
Well, here's another question along that lines. If you're using a lot of digital recording and EVP type of recordings to get answers to questions, you know, as a paranormal investigator myself, I've been working and doing this for many, many, many years. And I know how difficult it is to obtain EVPs, especially Class A, you know, very clear EVPs.
All mine were very clear.
Yeah, I mean, what types of techniques are you using? Are you just simply asking questions out loud and getting answers? I mean, what do you think?
I had the digital recorder, and I would ask a question. I'd let them answer it. No difference than Ghost Adventures or, you know, Paranormal State. You know, you'd ask the question, give them some time to answer, then I'd follow up with another question. Then I would sit there and listen to their answers. And then, you know, if I wanted to ask some more questions, I would go right ahead and ask some more questions to make clear what I was asking.
What do you think makes what you're doing different than other people out there trying to do EVP work and they're not getting that amount of success rate?
Maybe because for the simple reason that he is a strong psychic, and the fact that he's a strong psychic, they're able to link together and bring the EVP. Okay, it goes on to the EVP, but it is kind of like he's pulling it from them. You know what I mean? Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Mm.
Yeah,
so it's like most of my EVPs that I get are very, very good. Well, they're a lot of them, most of them are Class A. But I know that when I'm asking that question, I'm also working psychically with the actual entity that I am.
Right.
Yeah.
Communicating.
So it's like two wavelengths. You're using the wavelength from the EVP, but you're also using this other wavelength, which is a natural ability. And maybe that's what gives them the, what's the freaking word? Gives them the capability of coming out clear, you know, because they are also tuning to you as well as trying to blast it, well, put the voice onto that blooming machine.
Right.
Do you understand that, Mark? Sorry, David.
I understand the concept.
That's okay.
It's just that as someone who's recorded EVP or tried doing EVP for so many years, at least from my perspective, it's very difficult. Now, I've had some good success with it, but not to the extent or level that David has.
But when I do it, Mark, if I just go out there as ordinary Irene Allen Block and turn around and put the machine on and say, all right, talking to that, right. You know, and I don't use any of my abilities at the same time, I don't get very good EVPs. But when I'm actually tuned to that spirit that I'm actually trying to get the voice into the EVP from, I come out with Class A's. It comes out with Class A's.
Well, aren't you special?
It's kind of using my energy as well, you see? We're blending. Capito? Huh?
I say, aren't you special?
I am.
Yeah, but I'm they all makes the rest of us jealous because I know we struggle to get any kind of evidence at times. Here you're seeing apparitions floating around while you're on holiday and blah, blah, blah.
Well, I'm not normal, let's face it.
Well, I knew that.
Okay. Sorry about that, David. But did you understand that, David?
Yes, I did. And all my EVPs were very clear. I mean, it was like I had that person on the phone, or it's like they were sitting right next to me. That's how clear they were. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, to sit there and talk to this person, knowing that they had passed on, and yet I speak with them just as if I'm talking to you on the phone. You know, it's the conversations go back and forth. You know, and it was good.
It's not only that, but you're obviously clairaudient as well. And when you're clairaudient, I'm quite a few things, but when it's coming through my hearing, it's like we're talking now and as loud and as clear. Right. You know, I had an apparition come into the apartment in Italy, and I you know, I said out loud, "Oh, not now. I want to go to sleep." You know, and it went, "Uh-oh." Yeah. Right in my ear, it went, "Uh-oh."
You got to know when to turn them out. Yeah, they'll drive you crazy.
Yeah. So, you know, and it is just as clear, and you think, shit, it sounds like it was in the room, but it's not. It's through your ear.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not in the room at all.
No, I've heard plenty.
Yeah. So, was there any really, really sad cases?
Yeah, there. You know, I had some. I had a little boy that came through. He was about 7 years old, maybe 6, and he told me that he came through and he was talking to me. He said that he had passed away at that young age, and he was in the hospital, and he had his mom and dad come in, you know, and here he had caught pneumonia. He said 1 minute he was laying in bed, he was very conscious of this, and the next minute he was looking at his parents. The next minute he was behind his parents, standing up, and he knew he had passed on. And he said, "I'm looking at my body and my parents in front of me, you know, parents looking at me, and I had passed on because I had this pneumonia." Then in the book, you'll hear, if any of you read the book or whatever, I always ask the spirit, is there anything that you want to leave for the readers? Anybody, if you want to leave a message for anybody that's still living. So his name was Sammy, and little Sammy had said, you know what? I want to leave a message for everybody. Drink your orange juice. Because he was sick with pneumonia, so his thing was drink your orange juice so you don't go through this and get pneumonia, you know. But through the other spirits, they have some things to say that are pretty interesting. Well,
like what?
And hope we can learn a life lesson.
Like what types of things do they want to tell other people about their experiences?
They would tell them, like, you know, just don't take life for granted, you know, live life to your fullest, and, you know, be careful of your beliefs, because, you know, I'm not here to preach religion or tell you who to believe in or whatever. That's up to each individual as they go along. But they do tell what they think, you know, and believe in God and don't go this way, don't go that way. But every spirit I spoke to, I asked them to give me this, you know, what would you tell these people? If you could sit and tell them and give them a life's lesson, you know, what would it be? So, I mean, I don't remember them all, obviously. There's, you know, like 70 of them. But a lot of them would, like he said, drink your orange juice, you know. Another one would be like, you know, just, you know, go through the light or don't go to the light, you know. It's what they thought that they could leave behind, and as a word of help, you know, from taking their interview for the book. So.
Yeah, it's like advice.
It's just advice from the other side. That's all. I mean, it's up to you.
Did any of these spirits talk to you not only just about advice for the other side or to give to other people, but did any of them bring forth any really negative stories or hinting at anything really negative in the afterlife that they were dealing with?
Yeah, there was some spirits. There's bad spirits. When you die, there's going to be some bad spirits that are going to try to win you over and do bad things. Like one of the spirits told me that there's these evil spirits that wanted him to cut some brake lines to a car and kill these people. And there's another one told me that they were in a vacant house, that they're trying to get the spirits, trying to get them to start a fire in this vacant house to burn the house down. So there's some violent spirits out there, and some that just you really don't want to deal with. I mean, so that they try to win over these other spirits and, you know, have them do evil things.
Well, by violent spirits, do you mean other human spirits, people who had died and they were bad in life, so they're being bad on the other side?
Yeah, a lot of times these people that are bad now will be bad on the other side. They don't really change much. But then there's evil forces that coax them, you know, to do these things on the other side, you know. But they, you know, there's all kinds of stuff out there that either they want to do good, or they want to take you by the hand and show you, hey, look, let's go kill this guy, let's go kill that guy, let's start a fire, you know. And there's some of them that have vengeance, that they want to go back and haunt these people that wronged them in their life, you know. And a lot of them, they'll haunt like old houses and things like that, and they'll go after people that have wronged them, and some of them, but it's all out there. It's pretty much whatever you can think of. That's what will happen.
Well, I know that's my plan. When I die, I plan on going back and scaring the living shit out of anybody who gave me any crap. So I'm haunting them, folks, and you know who you are.
Yeah, be careful. I'm coming for you. But that's the truth. That's the truth. There was a guy wanted to come to think of it was something with the mother or something, and she locked him in the room, and it was as bad, and he went back after her. But yeah, there's these things that are in the book that the stories that are in there are some that basically turned on some people that at one time they were with or they liked or whatever, and just went back after them. Whether it's to get even on, it's vengeance, I guess would be the word. But it's just hard to say. I mean, but there's all kinds of motives out there, and they try to get you to do whatever they want, to be evil and to do things wrong to these other people that are still living. So,
do you believe that there are non-human negative entities or demonic type of
absolutely
entities?
Oh, absolutely. I talked to a few. Also, I talked to in the book, there was, if you remember, if any of you have Bible knowledge, there's 500 angels that left. When Lucifer left heaven, he took a third of the angels with him, which was 500 fallen angels with him. And these angels, which are now, you would classify them as demons. Okay. I talked to a few of them, and when they left heaven, they had jobs given to them by Lucifer. And I can't remember them all, but I talked to quite a few of them, and their jobs are, they're told in the book. Like one job might be a guy that when a politician speaks, the politician thinks he's saying something, but in all reality, it's the demon talking through him, and the demon puts words in his mouth, and the politician doesn't realize what's going on until, pretty much never, and then all the words are said and done. That was one of the demons I spoke with, would do things like that. Another one, they help.
Sorry, David. I thought they all had little earbuds in their ears being told what to say by other people.
It might be that way, but I know that some of them still talk to that. The demons came through and spoke through them, and said things that they wanted to get across, that Lucifer wanted them to know. So,
that answers a lot of their politicians, then, doesn't it?
Yeah, right. All politicians are bad, but yeah, but that was one thing. I mean, and then they had a chance to speak with the 12 Greek gods. If you know Zeus, Aphrodite, Artemis, Poseidon, those guys actually came to Earth first before Lucifer left and anything, and God had given them jobs for the Earth. Like Artemis is the Mother Earth, and Poseidon is the god of water. Hephaestus is the god of fire. Zeus is the god of lightning and thunder. Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Hera, the goddess of earth. But they all had jobs to do by God given to them because they were here on Earth. So God said, you guys came down, you can stay. So he kind of gave them the boot out of heaven so they could run things here on Earth for him. So, these are now the ones that can possess. You hear of demonic possession. Yeah. The ones that can possess are the Greek gods, and of the 500, they can possess too. So you got all those angels that were angels at one time are now demons. So when you hear of demonic possessions, you can pretty much bet that it's one of the 500 that fell from heaven that are here 12. On Earth now, or the 12. Yes.
So if I understand my math here, my basic rudimentary math learning from elementary school, you're saying there's 500 demons, and that's a third of what left heaven. So there were 1,500 angels
at that time.
That's at that time, yeah. That's what the Bible teaches us.
So the old adage, how many angels can dance on the head of a pin? Well, it's no more than 1,500, right?
How many?
the old saying, how many angels can dance on the head of a pin? It's like,
never heard of that.
You never heard of that? Oh, that was an old time.
How many?
Well, that was always the question. Nobody ever had the answer. Now we know the answer. It's no more than 1,500 because there's no more angels in 1,500.
Right.
And 500 of them went south.
Yeah, they did.
Must be tiny. Did they dance on the head of a pin?
Well, you're talking about spiritual beings.
Yeah, all
that's
right.
Crazy.
I still don't understand that one, but then again, I'm Brit and I'm a thick.
Yeah, we knew that. Anyway. So, okay, so with these demons, and they've come through and they've talked with you, how was that conversation compared to the others? Were they nice?
What
happened Were they disparaging?
Yeah, actually, they had to have been, like I said, this was planned by God. When I started talking to them, I had to have the utmost protection, okay? I mean, I'm not just talking to spirits now, I'm talking to entities. These guys could destroy you in a minute. And make you go crazy, and you'd be sitting in an asylum forever. But what the first entity that I talked to was, we had someone come through and tell us, you're going to meet the first entity tomorrow. It would be tomorrow night, okay? So we go in the backyard, and I'm talking to these spirits that are here, and all of a sudden you hear, he's here. So what happened was, we walked all the way to the back of my property, and through the woods, we could feel this presence. Hear this guy, they called him William, just William. So I say, okay, William, how you doing? He's like, okay. I said, I'm going to talk to you. I guess this has been arranged. He's like, yeah. So I go, well, let's go in the house so I can talk to you properly. So we went into the house, and here to come find out, William wasn't just William. He was a spirit, a very powerful spirit. It was Poseidon I was speaking to. The god of water was the very first entity I spoke with.
So Poseidon, a.k.a. Billy, was talking to you.
Yeah, we didn't, he came in undercover kind of and didn't want to let me know and scare us.
Oh, is that why he used the name Williams? Because
it was.
Obviously, if he come in as Poseidon, you think, shot.
Right. Yeah. Well, I didn't expect the god of water to be my first, guest, but it was Poseidon, and I got to talk to him, and he's the first entity that I speak to in the book. As he came forth first, he was the god of water, and I got a chance to talk to him, like how he became the god of water, and he went on to tell me that, Bermuda, he lives in Bermuda, and that the Bermuda Triangle is where he stays. So I'm like,
well, the weather's pretty nice down there. I wouldn't blame him on there.
All right. And, this is basically where he stays, and talked about the Bermuda Triangle for a bit. Just his part in after when they came down here, how he pretty much picked being the water god. So we spoke with him a while, and I wrote down everything he said, and then we moved on to there was Aphrodite, I believe. She came through, and she she's the goddess of love. So we had a chance to talk to her, being the god of love. And what she does, here on Earth, and then we met Hera, and then it went to Zeus, and it was fun because when Zeus came through, I remember clearly you could hear thunder and lightning outside of my house, and all of a sudden you could feel the presence of him. He was there. It was fascinating. But these gods are real. They're not just some Greek myths. I shut this phone up. Just some Greek myths. The fallen 12 angels that came to Earth in the very, very, very beginning. And God had given them these jobs to do.
Would you consider them to be the Watchers that were mentioned in Genesis and in Enoch?
They're still Watchers. There's still Watchers that helped Noah build the ark and things like that. But these weren't Watchers. These were angels that had gotten thrown out. They got thrown out of heaven because they came down to earth and they stayed way too long. So God's like, okay, you want to stay down there? You're not coming back, So now they're not going back anytime soon. But the Watchers are something totally different. I didn't speak to any Watchers. Spoke to them and spoke to the 12 and some of the 500. But it was an interesting conversation, needless to say. I mean,
now, were any of them the gods of libation? Like beer god or whiskey god or anything like that? Because if not, I want to apply for that job.
Nice. No, there was nothing like that.
Okay. Now, you talk a lot about having protection from God and God being involved in this.
Right.
I'm just going to ask point blank, how do you know that? And how do you getting that information that you're dealing with God?
I believe he talks to me. Just like he can talk to you if you listen. I mean, all kidding aside, I mean, I'm a Christian and I pray to God and I've seen other things happen in my life. And I know that when this book was coming out and we were doing these things, I had to have protection because the people and the things I talked to, I couldn't have written this book without it. I mean, if anybody's ever played with a Ouija board and it started moving by itself, of course it's going to move by itself, but you started feeling a little hesitant about this thing and wanting to know what's going to happen here. You needed some help or you needed some protection from that or moving crystals. These are things that, once you open the door, you might say, we kicked the door in and whatever happened. So I had to have some protection. But the other side's for real, and witches are real, spirits are real, hell's real, heaven's real. I mean, I spoke to these entities and these angels, these fallen angels, these demons. First, I started off with the spirits. From the spirits, we found out, some things that, where they're going or what the other side is like a little bit and how these angels interact with them. Is all very interesting. And more interesting to see how one must be protected to move forward with, even these thoughts, because one would think the other one's crazy, like, oh, he talks to angels. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
If heaven and hell are real.
Sorry, Mark.
Somebody aside like that and call them nuts. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so your belief in God protects you the same way as others believe in the white light, surrounding themselves with white light.
I guess you could say that. I mean,
like the God source sort of thing.
Right.
Okay. Mark, did you want to say something?
Well, yeah, my question was, if you believe in heaven and hell from a Christian standpoint, and I'm speaking as a former Christian, so I understand the concepts, but
fallen angel.
Former being
fallen angel.
Yeah, I'm not there anymore, but I understand the concepts. So, because then I run into questions like this: if there's heaven and hell, then why are these spirits still hanging around and talking to you? Why haven't they gone to one place or another?
Free will.
They have an opportunity to. You ever heard the spirits roam? They roam the earth. Wherever I may roam, or they passed on, but they haven't decided yet by the angel or where they're going to go. They have the opportunity, they have the notion, but they never made good on it to go forward and through the light, to make a commitment to either go to heaven or go to hell or walk through the light. So now these people and these spirits are here on earth, wanting to see maybe their grandkids or their children and see what they're going to do, which of course we know that they can't make any decisions. They can't help them, but they want to know what, they want to see what's going to happen. So they roam the earth. Some want to travel. Like I said, she wanted to get inside the pyramids, so she did. And so they travel all around. to see things, and to get I guess to get to see things, and to find out what the earth holds that they've never seen.
Well, what they never experienced in life.
They've never experienced it, right? Yeah. No. Right, so they've never experienced it.
Well, so they got free will, and they can roam the earth, but I don't think they're actually stuck here. I think if they decide, it's like thought, you said, if they want to be in Australia one day, just think it and they're there, right? Yeah. So if they want to pass over to heaven, okay, think it and off you go. You know?
They have to find a place where the light's at. So if they can go to any funeral home and find the light, but they have to cross over through that light if they want to cross over. It's just not like they can think of, they have to know where to find the light and go. Yeah. So it's a little more difficult, but they can go anywhere in the world. They're not allowed to fly, though. They cannot get in a plane and fly. The spirits say it's kind of funny because if you see, they would watch these spirits get in on a plane and all of a sudden start falling out of the sky because they're not allowed to fly. They're not allowed to leave the second heaven, the second heaven or something like that. But
what about
actually? That's strange, because I've seen them on trains.
Right, you won't see them on a plane.
I've seen them on buses, but I've not seen anything on a plane.
Right, that's true, and you won't.
Now, what about those nasty spirits, the evil ones that we talked about earlier, with the ones that are trying to get people to do bad things? At what point do they go to hell? I mean, do they have to say, okay, I'm going to go in the light, and the angel's waiting there and saying, nope, sorry, you're going to the other place?
What'll happen is there's going to be a second, if you're a Christian or you were a Christian, you obviously know that there's going to be a second judgment. Okay, the first is the white. They're going to be judged when they die, and then when Christ comes back, there's going to be another judgment. So these people that are actually didn't cross over and go to the light and go to heaven or hell at this time, they're going to have to make God's going to make the decision for them. That would be the white throne judgment. And when God comes back and Jesus comes back, and you stand before God, and He says, "This is your works. This is what you've done. Okay, you're going to hell, you're going to hell, you're going to heaven, you're going to heaven." All that'll be decided at the time. But right now, you go through the light, and you get it's the first judgment. So, okay, you might stay on earth and bide your time, or you go to the light and you thought you were going to go to heaven and you didn't, and you end up in hell. So now that's where you're going to be. But a lot of these people, go ahead.
Yeah, David, do you think hell is fire and brimstone as we expect it to be?
Yes, and I will tell you one thing. Hell and heaven all have degrees, okay? When I say degrees, I'm like, how bad were you? There's 300 levels of heaven, and there's 150 levels of hell. So the worst person that does absolutely worst, he's going to be at the rock bottom of that pit at 150th level. And some might be just walking the brim, and just barely not even getting burnt. But that's all for real. And I believe one day a lot of people will find out. But there's 300 levels of heaven. So, you might just get in so-called by the skin of your teeth.
That'd be me.
Yeah. Really, you just might be able to get in there on the skin of your teeth, and you're entering, heaven 101, the first level. Or you might be great, and you're a missionary, or you're a preacher, and might enter level 200. Or you might be something else, and you're great, and you're level 300. But I tell you for sure, there's 300 levels of heaven, and there's 150 levels of hell. And basically, it goes by, it judges you on what good you've done and what bad you've done. And that's how they come up with that.
Irene, when you go to heaven, send me a postcard because I know where I'm going to be.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're going to be one down.
I'm going to, or several levels. Actually, it reminds me of what Dante Alighieri's famous poems, The Divine Comedy, which is Inferno, Purgatory, and Paradiso. And, the various layers or levels of hell and heaven. It's what you're describing sounds very similar to what Dante described.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure, but it's all going to be pretty much by what you're judged by, what you've done, by your works or by how good you are, or what level that you'll either burn or you're gonna, maybe enjoy some ice cream. So, but in all seriousness, that's the way the judgment, and it's all gonna go down that way. Mm-hmm. How hot or how heaven's gonna be to you, down the road.
So even if for whatever reason I got into heaven by the skin of my teeth, I'm still going to be in like the slums of heaven. Well, if you get in there, I'm sure you'd be happy as hell to get in there, and wake up and say, okay, I made it to heaven. I'm on the first floor, but it doesn't matter. I'm in heaven, right? It beats burning forever. Well, that's true.
He definitely will get his bum. He would definitely get his bum burnt. I assure you that.
Well, I'm a ginger, so I burn easily.
Oh, that's not good. Yeah, that's funny.
Wait until you get to Italy, then.
I was just in Vegas last month. That was hot as hell.
He factored 50 out in Italy for him.
Now, that makes me want to ask about subjects that a lot of other people believe in or have had experiences with that don't necessarily fall under with Christianity. And so with you interviewing any of these spirits, did you ever talk to any of them, or they ever mention anything about reincarnation or past lives?
I did ask about reincarnation. They said it did not exist. So, I mean, a lot of people might, call me weird or, but I asked them about that, just point blank. I said, is reincarnation that? And they said no. So that was right from the other side. So they can take it for what it is. I don't believe in it, but I'm not putting my beliefs out there. I did ask the question, and their response was it didn't exist.
Because let me throw something out there for you just to consider. Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to bash anybody's beliefs or anything,
right?
But we have encountered ourselves very strong evidence living past lives and reincarnation, but I mentioned Irene and I because we had a shared experience of a past life back in the 1800s. I had a past life regression through hypnosis and came up with this life, and I had a name pop in my head as well as a location. And with that, I was able to do a lot of research, and I found the person. I found that person. Not only did I find the person, the whole family, where they lived. Irene was my sister in that lifetime. And I even found the graves where we were buried. And so that was a lot of really either a lot of intense coincidences or it was real. And so, again, that makes me question and ask you in those situations, there are a lot of other people out there who have also had these types of experiences. So if what they're telling you, if this doesn't exist, what do you think is happening?
I don't know. I mean, I did ask them point blank, is reincarnation real, or, how's that going? And they said it didn't exist. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they're lying to me. I don't know. I mean, my personal belief, I don't believe that God recycles. I mean, I'm not going to be Jesus Christ on the cross and came back and here I am, I don't believe in it. But I guess it's possible. I mean, people don't believe in spirits, but they exist. Some UFOs, but, that's a possibility that, the space is wide open. I mean, and is it possible? Sure, it's possible to have UFOs. So many people, there's so many stories. So, I mean, I don't know. But for me, I just can't see it.
Do you think it maybe is because that's still in the spirit form and they haven't reincarnated themselves, so they don't know that it can happen?
I don't know. I mean, they've been around a while. I'm talking to these fallen angels and things like that, and they said, no, this doesn't exist. I mean, I don't know.
That's strange, very strange. What I want to ask you is, what out of all the ones, the human spirits that you spoke to, which one was the earliest?
The earliest
and how far back did it go? Because over here they go back quite a number of years.
I did have a spirit that told me he was over 200 years old. He had he had come from Canada, Ottawa, Canada, and he had been over 200 years old. I don't remember his story quite, but he was over 200 years old. Had a chance to talk to him, you know. But yeah, that was the oldest, I believe. The spirit we talked to was like 200 years old.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that in a way makes sense, even from a paranormal research angle, because it's very rarely that you come across human spirits anyway. And I'm talking real human spirits and not residual type of hauntings or time loops or anything like that are more than a couple of 100 years old. I mean, otherwise, we can have spirits going back 10,000 years.
Exactly.
Bothering the hell of us. And then just imagine the overpopulation of spirits. You couldn't move around without bumping into one.
Right. No, that would be crazy. There would be spirits everywhere.
So it seems like...
Yeah, I've told you before, Mark, behind every man stands 50 of them.
Yeah, I feel sorry for them when I go in to take a shower.
Knock them down.
If they weren't blind before, they're blind after that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but behind every man there's 50 of them. Okay.
Wow.
All right. What about Native American Indians? You have any of them?
I don't know. I didn't get a chance to speak any of them. None came through.
No?
I didn't have any. I don't think I spoke to one Native American Indian. I had, early settlers, I would think, like the guy was 200 years old.
Yeah.
I spoke with him, and he was claiming from Ottawa, Canada. He was traveling, and it would take him how long it would take him to go from, come in the United States and then go back to Ottawa. I know. I mean, there was no cars back then. They were just walking, so.
It's just that I thought maybe you would get a few Native American Indians because they were obviously there was tribes in where you live, Ohio. Obviously, I don't know which ones were there, but
I don't know. I didn't have any Native American Indians come through that I know. They didn't specify,
Yeah. You don't think that any of these could have possibly be aliens?
No, aliens, no.
No?
No, these were all spirits that have passed on and came to the, the power line, where they feed their energy field. I did have a chance to speak with witches that would come on that one Friday night every month. Had witches come through and talk about their beliefs and things that they've done, and how they flew everywhere, and things like that, and about their travels.
Were they old witches, say from 200 years ago? That
they were a while because they had flown across. Coven. Yes, they had flown across the Atlantic Ocean. There was 3 of them that said they flew.
They come over from the UK then.
I don't know. They came over. They did go from I think the United States over there, or from over there to here. Yeah. But that was exciting to know.
Did you pick? Was there any accents with these people? Did you get anyone with accents, like a German accent, a British accent, or anything like that when you were talking with them?
I think we did. I can't remember. Going back to 2015. I can't remember exactly if there was any accents, but I'm sure there were. I mean, because we could hear them. You could hear them talk. I mean, so there was some accents. We could distinguish between a male and a female voice. So I'm sure that we could distinguish between accents back then. if I stopped and gave it any thought, But right now I can't remember.
How do you differentiate between spirits and entities?
For one, I can feel their strength when I'm talking to them. They're very, very strong. And it just an entity is so strong. I mean, you can feel their strength when talking to them, and the spirits, not so much. But the entities can definitely tell a difference. Or this one's strong or this one isn't. But
now, just so I understand your classification, a spirit is that of a person, a human being who has died?
Yes.
Are there,
yes.
Are there other types of spirits?
The entity would be an angel, a demon, Lucifer. I mean, things like that. So that would be an entity.
Right. That's what I wanted to get into. You spoke with Lucifer, yeah?
Yes, they did speak with Lucifer. Yes.
How's he doing down there anyway?
How's he doing? Is he... Is he? Does he give off that feeling of evil that everyone expects him to?
No, he's a charmer. I mean, he would charm you. He could meet you for a drink, and you wouldn't know that Lucifer was sitting next to you. Not at all. He stands about 6'2", 6'3". He has a diamond earring in his left ear. He's very, very charming. Okay, and you would never know that this is Lucifer. You would never expect it. Never. And the way he would talk to you and present himself to you, you would never expect it. It is very, very much like you think Lucifer, like you said, is going to be like, how do you expect him? And he's not that way at all. You wouldn't know it was him if he's sitting right next to you right now. I mean,
so he would not look like Tim Curry in Legend,
no,
big horns, red.
No. He looks like a normal person. He has the ability to change from his demonic look. Because you remember, he was an angel first. Okay, he was a seraphim. God created him as a seraphim. Then he went wrong, so now he became a fallen angel, and God put him on his belly. Everything he had to do, he had to learn everything on his own. He's a self-taught individual as far as transforming. I mean, but one thing you got to remember, Lucifer will always have a mark on his left hand. Whether he's a dog, a cat, an angel, he's marked on his left hand. So you can see, I mean, he has a mark of a star and a moon on his left hand. Okay. It's like tattooed, but it's not. It's God marked him, so we would be able to tell who he is, no matter his transformation. So, but I mean, he shows up in witches' covens. He'll show up and at a coven, and they won't know exactly. They'll know it's him, but a lot of covens don't worship Lucifer, but he shows up to help things along.
I'm very curious to hear what Lucifer had to say to you. What was he talking about?
I was going to ask, what sort of questions did you ask him?
Well, I asked him a lot, and he would tell me, all right, in the beginning, he would tell me, I go, how was it in the beginning, Lucifer? He said, David, it was just me and God. He goes, it was just me and God. I would be the only one allowed. I was the only one in his chambers. Because God would create something, and then I would create something. Like God created the rabbit, and I would create the snake or the lion that would eat it. Anything with teeth, he said, I created. So, and he said that anything with teeth he created. So if it was, give God something, they always try to outdo each other. And right now, I know it's just a matter of a chess game of souls between Lucifer and God. He told me about 9/11. There was 5 countries that were involved, a circle of 5. Remember, always a circle. And in the book, I discussed who they were. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. It was the United States. What else? There was 5 countries.
5 eyes.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, there's 5. Saudi Arabia. And who else was there? I want to say Chile. Or I There's 5 of them. There's the United States. I don't have my book handy and I can't remember, but I know there's 5 countries.
You're like me, you know. Any books that I've written in the past,
right?
I find it very difficult to remember what I put in them.
I know. It's in there. There's 5 countries that were placed, and he speaks about it, and he was involved at the meetings. And this was a whole diversion when the United States got their Twin Towers smashed. That was a diversion for the guy that because the whole thing was a battle over what was the battle over? Shoot.
Of the network stars?
Stargate?
The battle over something. I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank. But there was a battle or something where this one guy it was about controlling things. And Lucifer wanted to be involved. So because Lucifer was involved, he wanted to make sure that on any future meetings they kept him in the loop and that he would be involved in doing so. He talked about the Bushes. He talked about Obama's job and getting the troops out of Afghanistan at that time. He spoke
which
about
never happened.
Yeah, but there was a lot of things he spoke about. I just can't remember offhand. Shoot.
Well, did he ever tell you what his ultimate goal is? Why he did the things he did?
He wanted to be. He got kicked out of heaven, but I think him and God had this mutual thing where he was leaving heaven because he wanted to be like God. It wasn't like he wanted to take over God's position. He just wanted to be like God. He wanted
to be a god.
Yeah, he wanted to be a god. And he wanted to be like God. Then he had he took like a third of heaven with him. God and him agreed upon it, and that he would take a third of the angels with him and leave heaven. What else? He can change at will anything. I mean, like I said, you could know him and you wouldn't know him. He's a seraphim. Now the horns on his face aren't really horns. Those are where his wings would cover his face, and God removed them. So there's no longer wings there, but if you would where the wings were, that's where his the horns you would think they're horns, but they're not. That's where his wings were, which sat upon, and to cover his eyes.
Okay.
What else?
Did you see? Sorry, did you see the mark on his left hand?
Yes, it's a star and a moon. Actually, I had seen him a couple of times. I was working on a job one time, and he had come to me on a job. And it was strange because I was a painting contractor, and it was during I was writing the book, and he had popped in on me. Yeah. And I didn't know it was him at first until he came across me as the gutter guy. I mean, that he was going to put gutters on his house. Yeah. He had this disguise. So but when he knelt down, he was, what?
How apropos. He's working on the gutters. Never mind. Bad joke. Go ahead. Continue.
No, I didn't understand that.
This was for real. I seen the mark on his hand. And he looks to one of my guys and says, and he didn't know anyone that were working for me. He looks at me and says, "Hey, John, I'll be seeing you around." And he didn't, to him is just a gutter guy. We didn't know at the time, but I seen the mark on his hand.
Yeah.
And I came home and I discussed it with my girlfriend. Like I said, we were writing the book at the time, and here it was him. And he had made a remark to one of my guys, like, "I'll be seeing you around." And my friend's like, "Who was that guy? I don't know him." But then later on I told him, But it was very serious. I mean, I don't consider anything with Lucifer a joke.
No.
He's a real guy. I've seen him a few more times here and there. But
no, you don't mess with Lucifer.
No, you don't. He's a real man. He's a real man.
Yeah.
and he stands before God every day.
Is he a real man, or is he an entity?
He can appear as a real man.
Right? No, he's a real man. He has a business here. He has a business, and he can change to whatever he wants.
So he basically works out of Ohio.
Takes on a real man's form. Yes.
He works out of Ohio.
I don't know exactly where he works from. I think he actually has a condo or something in Chicago.
Well, Chicago, that
David,
makes sense.
But he's very wealthy. I mean, he'll pull money out, and you wouldn't know where it's coming from. He drives the best of cars. I mean, he's Lucifer. I mean, he's got a lot. He does whatever you think he can. And more. What else did he talk about? Talked about creation with God. Talked about 9/11. The Catholic Church, how they're laundering money, and how they're very deceptive.
Yeah.
You mentioned that he created anything with teeth.
Yes, Lucifer. Yeah.
See,
God taught him how to create.
But here's the thing: we have teeth.
He's not talking about that. He's talking about animals.
Animals, yeah, Mark.
But I just wanted clarification because
no.
Right.
But even
David. Sorry, Mark. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Oh, I wondered. Can we get off Lucifer for a moment?
Sure, go back. Yes.
Okay, yeah. When you see these spirits come into your when you have these spirits come into your house as guests, David, to interview them, do you ever see them with your own eyes? I know you hear them, but can you see them as well when you're talking to them?
I can see them with my third eye. I can, and actually the witches I did see. I when they were walking in my backyard, I've seen 3 of them walking together.
Yeah.
I physically seen 3 women walking in my backyard to me. And the closer they got, they fainted out, and then they went in the house.
Yeah.
Because I did see that. I mean, and the other, seen a lot of the witches, because like I said, they would come the first Friday of every month would be witches and demons, and then they would clear out the other spirits. So I had a chance to interview them and talk to them. So that in the book, there's a lot of spirits I spoke with. Then on that first Friday of every month, I had a chance to speak with the witches and the demons. Like I said, the first demon I spoke to was that guy named William, which turned out to be Poseidon.
Yeah. Okay. And the energy field in the backyard.
Yes.
When you actually go out there, what do you feel yourself? Can you feel the energy? Can you gauge how big it is, whether it goes out of your backyard into somebody else's or something?
It was probably about 10 feet wide, and it was the length of my backyard, which was my backyard was 2 acres, so it was the length of the backyard. So let me shut this thing off. It was the length of the backyard, and it actually was about 10 feet wide or so, and it would butt right up to my laundry room. Well, remember in the beginning of this interview, I told you I heard voices and things like that, and they were coming from my laundry room. Come to find out that energy field butted right up into my laundry room. Okay, so that's where it made sense, because when all this was happening, that I heard these things, and they had told me that you have your house, there's spirits in your house, and they're coming from this energy field that's in your backyard. So,
no, wait.
But
I have a question just to go back on the witches. How do the witches look? I mean, how do you differentiate them from other spirits? How do they look different?
I had one that was really, really annoying to me. And she was mad that, I was talking to everybody. And she had an ugly face, an ugly nose. And she tried to mess with me. And then we had one of the entities stepped in and banished her and got rid of her. But that's happened sometimes during my talks with the other side in that house. So,
yeah, I can understand that.
But for the most part, And they would solidify that the Hansel and Gretel was for real. That there was a time when these witches would eat the younger kids.
Yeah, I've heard those stories over here.
And those things still go on today to bring up Pizzagate. If anybody can YouTube Pizzagate, I mean, they're taking all the children, and there's demonic ceremonies going on, and they're eating these kids.
Oh,
I mean,
God,
you can YouTube it. It's for real. So I'm like, I think that's just crazy. But it's in Ashton Kutcher actually stood
I've heard
up.
people talk about Pizzagate, but I didn't know. I had no idea because I didn't look into it myself to find out what it was about.
I looked into it
I
some.
thought it was about pizzas.
No, they use pizza as a metaphor.
Trafficking.
Yeah, for child trafficking and pedophilia.
Pedophilia, yes. It's quite disturbing. Yeah. And a lot of the Illuminati and a lot of those people that are in Hollywood are all engaged in this. And no one really wants to talk about it. It is.
My God, that is friggin' sick. Excuse my language, people.
No, it's very sick.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
But to sit and think about that, and those are things that all come into demonic worship and things like that. These people want fame and fortune.
These people. But is this an idea of these people, or do these demons actually want them to eat children?
I think they do. I think they do.
Do they get some sort of kick out of it?
I think they get.
Or is it just a human idea that they are kind of glorifying the demons by eating the children?
I think they do it for fame and glory and money. I mean, a lot of these things have contracts with Lucifer. They want to fulfill.
There's a lot of bloody sick people out there. I've heard, I've heard before of cannibals and people, even today, eating each other. But we had a famous case over here with a serial killer. But,
oh, wow.
I just think that it's blasted sick. I'm sorry about the language, people.
No, you're all right. I think it's sick too, but things like that go on.
It just makes me angry. I just want to blow their heads off.
I agree.
I don't know. Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. You'll have to tell me. No, you don't. I don't like things like that. It's like Mark. He goes on Facebook every now and then. There'll be a lion chasing something or something like that, or a dog, and it's like, oh, you've got to see this. Oh, this is a shame. This is terrible.
Right.
Don't want to know. Don't want to know. Don't show me. Don't show me.
Yeah, don't show me. I don't want to know.
Yeah. It's absolutely horrible.
No,
but
I have a question.
Oh, sorry, Mark. Go on.
May I ask a question, please?
Yes, you may.
Why, thank you. With everything that's going on in the world, which the world is going to hell in a handcart.
Sure.
Did the spirits or anybody give you? You mentioned that there's the final judgment and Jesus coming back. Did these spirits ever give you any indication on a time frame when that might be?
No, but the Antichrist is alive, and the Antichrist is about 15 years old. So within the next 20 years, you're going to see things happening where the mark of the beast. You always see the chips right now that they're talking about implanting chips in your hand where you can keep track of your bank accounts and your food. So if you have the chip, you'll get food and your bank accounts will be okay. Or they can control it and not give you food or control your bank accounts where you don't get anything. And all this is coming from Christ coming back. These are all signs you should watch for.
Now you said the Antichrist is only 15 now?
Yes.
Oh, my ex will be disappointed in that. Yeah, my ex will be very disappointed because she's convinced I'm the Antichrist.
Wow.
Oh, dear me.
I'm here all week, folks. Well. Try the veal.
Yeah. Okay. Behave.
Yeah. Right.
Behave. I had a question that I wanted to. No, he's blown my mind now. I don't know where I am anymore. Oh, while I was away, David.
Yeah.
Right now, obviously, I live in this haunted house.
Right.
But while I was away, my son, when I came back, my son told me a story. What happened when I was away? He said that he was staying here with his young child who's about 6 months. No, I think he's 8 months now. 8 months
Right.
old, little boy, and his 2.5-year-old little boy.
Yeah.
So it was just Billy, my son, and these two children here. He put them both to bed one night, and he came downstairs and he sat in the sitting room, but he left the door open in case they cried so he could hear them.
Right.
But at some point during the evening, he heard chatter going on upstairs, like a conversation, like a load of people talking.
Right. Yes.
But he couldn't quite make out what they were talking about because it all kind of mingled together, like everyone was talking at the same time.
Right.
Then it went quiet, and a voice turned. It went very quiet, and then a voice said, "Let's check on the children. No, let's check on the boys. Let's check on the boys."
Oh, wow.
So he flew out the door, didn't he? Ran upstairs thinking somebody had got into the house.
Right.
And there was no one up there. And the two little boys were asleep in their beds, fast asleep. So the second...
checking on them.
Yeah, the second week, my daughter-in-law took over from Billy, and he went back to London, and she took over... God, it's all right. My computer's just told me it's time to go to bed. She took over the house, okay, for the second week. And she told me that she could hear talking all over the house. Different conversations going on, which she couldn't quite make out what they were saying,
Right.
So this was all happening, and amongst other things that happened while we were away, things were being moved around, picked up, moved from one position to the other, and one thing and another. But the house always becomes very, very active. My daughter-in-law, she had my granddaughter, who is just over a year old here, staying. Whenever the house becomes very active when there's children in the house. Anyway, but the fact that you talked to me, you were telling us the story about these voices in your house and one thing or another, how they all kind of chat away to each other and one thing.
Yeah.
It just reminded me of what went on while I was in Italy.
Wow.
So you'd like this house, David?
Sounds like it. Nice.
You could have a few good conversations in here, I tell you.
Yeah. Bring my pen and paper.
Trouble is, I think they tell you a few nasty secrets about me.
Uh-oh. Can't have that.
Yeah, she gets up to this. She does that.
That's funny.
Yeah. Nice. So in the house you're living in now, do you still get this going on, or?
Oh, we have a protection spell against this house. But if I'm out, going out to eat or whatever, if I'm out in the public, I can still hear spirits, and I can feel them touching me. Like they'll pat my knee, if they want to talk to me, or they'll hit me on the shoulder that, hey, look at me, or listen to me. I want you to listen to me. Those sort of things, but not in the house. The house is protected, and it's only if I go outside of the house that I get asked to speak to, by these spirits and things like that. But it still goes on. It still happens. It hasn't changed.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think there's any sort of energy field around this house that you're in now? Have you felt it? No,
not around this one. But if I go back to my old house, yeah, it's there.
Okay.
It's there, definitely.
Can you go to other locations where they have energy fields like that? Do you know of any other locations?
I would have to find, I don't know. I mean, I don't know of any right now. Only one I know is that there's one in my house, and that there are people been visiting it for quite some time. And there are other energy fields that I've heard of, but none around here. Next one, there's another one in Arkansas they told me about. It's very similar to the one that I have in Ohio here in my backyard. So, but there's people that a lot of these spirits have been coming to this house for years and years and years, a long time, and they tell me that the energy field's always been here. You know, it's a natural energy field for spirits to come and get juiced up. You know.
Mm. So, did you sold that particular house? Did you?
Yes, I moved out of that one. Yes, I stayed there for 10 years.
Yeah, and do you know if the people that have got it now are getting any problems?
I can only imagine. I don't know, but I'm sure they are. I mean, you know, the spirits that are come and go in the house as they please, you know, but yeah. I don't know for sure of what's going on in that house now.
Was there anything bad that happened in that house to you? Were you attacked or anything?
During when I was writing that book,
yeah,
I had to go to the bathroom, so I go in the bathroom downstairs, and we had knickknacks on the back of the toilet. You know, there were some candles there and things like that. I go in there one time just to take a piss, and it's like somebody put their arm on the back of that toilet and just threw everything on the floor. I mean, it's like a drunk comes home.
Wait a minute, David. Hold on, David. Piss for the British audience is a wee. Okay?
Is what we? Okay, all right.
A wee.
Well, I was taking. All right. I was pee when I went in there in the house. Yeah. And while I was going pee, there was like an arm that came over the top of the back of the toilet and just cleared off all the knickknacks, the candles, you know, maybe the little plant that was there, and pushed them all off on the floor. And the same thing when I went to, I told my girlfriend about this. So I had to get gas from there. We were going to go see a movie. So from there, I go to the gas station. Well, while I'm in there, the gas station, I had driven there and I started filling my car up, you know, with the gas. Well, anyways, the gas station, the pump started going crazy. Next thing you know, I came back out. The pump didn't turn off. It had pumped $75 in gas into my little Ford Fusion, which you couldn't take. It was too much. And then later on that night, after we seen the movie, I went to the movie. The urinal overflowed and splashed me. So here I found out there was a demon that was following me, and it wasn't too happy about what I was doing. So the demon overflooded my car.
Yeah.
Pushed off all the water from the urinal and at the movie theater. And it's the same one that cleared the back of the toilet with all the knickknacks and things on it. So, yeah, so that was my little experience with a jealous demon. So, quite crazy, I must add.
What about your girlfriend? Did she ever have any problems?
No, she's been okay. During writing the book, there was no problems. She was with me when a lot of this happened, you know.
Yeah.
So she could verify it. But, it was definitely different.
Okay, I think Mark had a question. Did you, Mark?
Oh, I have lots of questions. God help us all. There are lots of energy spots around the United States. A lot of places that have high strangeness, and we mentioned earlier possibly where these ley lines go across.
Right.
I think that there's even some maps out there you could find online of where ley lines go across.
Right.
Are you still looking to continue this work and try to find the locations where you could continue getting these stories, or what are your next steps? Where do you want to go from here?
I have another book I just released, and it was nothing like paranormal. I released a book on erotica. I have a lot of people asking me, what about the paranormal? Are you going to release another paranormal book? I'm like, not at this time, I mean, I found out that the erotic book is very controversial also. It doesn't deal with anything paranormal, of course, but it's definitely a change of what they call genre. But I would like to do another paranormal book later on, I think, and go back into exposing the paranormal and some spirits and some entities. So yeah, I would like to do that again. It was fun writing the book, It opened my eyes to a lot. And when I say you must read this book, you must have an open mind set, or you can actually take the book, read it, and think about it and digest it and understand what the spirits are saying. I mean, I've had some people that had bought the book and they said they could feel the spirits' footprints on them as they read the book, and their soul. But I think it's interesting to see how people react. But you must have an open mind when you're reading this book, I think. But there's so much to take in, you know.
When you're talking with these spirits, do you ever try to encourage them to go to the light or to cross over?
Yeah, actually, we did. In the books, you'll read how we did lead several spirits to the light, and that they did cross over, you know. So yeah, we did do that. We created the light and was able to show them the light where they did cross over to it. So.
Now, wouldn't it be ironic if you helped somebody cross over to it and they were told, nope, you're going to the other place?
I don't think that
like, oops, sorry about that.
I would be afraid of sending them to the wrong place and like, oh my God, I sent you to hell. Sorry. Oops.
Sorry, but my bad.
But, yeah, right.
I'll send you a gift basket to make it up to you. You know.
Yeah,
some ice cubes.
Ice cube trays.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but nothing like that. I was very cautious in what we did, and I think everything, you know, they went across and got, and a lot of them were thankful because they couldn't find the light. So, and then there was spirits that were coming into the house that, look, you know, there's a lot of chitter chatter going outside here. These spirits are talking how people come in, they don't come out. You know, we want to know where they're going. And I told the spirits, I said, well, I've created the light, and they went on their way. They wanted to go through, follow the light and go that way. And I go, oh, okay, yeah, you know. But a lot of the spirits they knew that something wasn't right because spirits are coming in, but there's not too many leaving, you know. And they didn't see them leaving, you know, by the way of the light, you know. They knew. Then the word got out that we were creating the light. Then you had more spirits that wanted to come in, and for us just to create the light and let them go. So it was quite an experience writing this book. I mean, keep in mind, all these stories are true. Speaking with Lucifer, speaking with the angels.
Well, that was going to be my next question, is we spent a lot of time, we got 10 minutes left in the program. We spent a lot of time talking about the human spirits and Lucifer and the demons, but we haven't really touched on the angels. What other types of angels have you spoken with, and what kind of messages have they come through with? I
had a chance to speak with Michael, the archangel, and he says he would go to a lot of these people that were dying from war, you know, like veterans and things like that. They needed his help, so he would go and help them get through some bad times from the wars that they were in. But Michael was telling us about heaven. We talked to guardian angels. We talked to the seraphims that sit at the right hand of God. I talked to Gabriel that's waiting for God to, tell her to blow the trumpet so Christ can come back to earth and do the second coming. Talk to the angel of death, Azrael. All this is in the book. She's a blue angel. The angel of death is the color blue. Michael has a tower that he's in. When he's in heaven, he's at a tower on the 300th floor, and he keeps a lookout over heaven. And he answers God's call whenever God needs him to do something. The angel is on. Michael is on it. He does whatever God wants him to. Gabriel, God had told Gabriel that when people are coming to heaven, Gabriel's like, we're not going to have enough room in heaven, God's like, well, we have to expand it. And Gabriel's like, well, how's that? He goes, it's not going to be too easy because a lot of people don't believe in heaven like they should. But we had to expand heaven so we can fit all the people in it. So, and everybody has a guardian angel, and these guardian angels now, when you're born, you get a guardian angel. The guardian angel will stay with you until it's time for you to die. And once you die, the guardian angel will leave you and go back to God, and and he gets another assignment. So he'll stay with you until it's your time to go. Then the guardian angel picks up and goes to someone else.
See, my guardian angel is on medical leave due to a nervous breakdown, and it's in intense rehabilitation therapy, having to deal with me.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my guardian angel.
Nice.
I'm sorry, folks. I can't help myself. These human spirits, do they ever have an opportunity to advance farther to become angelic? Or are there's always a clear definition between angels and humans?
I think some of them, there's a couple stories that I think some of them can go on to become an angel. There's a guy that what?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's been stories that I've heard that a human has gone on to become an angel. Just like Lucifer, can recruit people in their dying bed to be a demon. I know for a fact I did speak with one of them that he was on his deathbed and Lucifer approached him. He said, "How would you like to stay on earth and do whatever you want? You have totally freedom." And the guy's like, "Well, what do I have to do?" He goes, "Here, you signed this contract to be a demon of mine. For the contract was for 200 years." So the guy did it, and he became indebted to Lucifer for that amount of time. But there's stories of them becoming a demon and becoming an angel, so it's very possible that one can do that.
Okay. I've never heard about that. I've heard about earth angels and things like that.
Yeah.
But earth angels, there's several kind of. You've got the earth angels that are human beings that do really good things. We call them earth angels, like nurses and things like that.
Right.
And then you've got the ones that are meant to be in human form that walk the earth doing nothing but good. So. Which is basically the same thing, I should imagine.
Right.
I've never heard of them being recruited.
The one guy was on his deathbed, and Lucifer approached him on his deathbed and offered him to be a demon. So he made him into a demon. Yeah.
And was it when this guy talked to you, was he still a demon, or was he?
Yeah, he was still
200-year contract by then.
He was still under contract. He had 20 years left in his contract with Lucifer.
So what will happen to him after the contract is up? Will he be able to?
He'll be free to go, I guess. I don't know. I didn't follow up.
Human again?
Yes, he'll become human again. Yes.
Human spirit.
Yes.
And go to hell.
Yeah, probably so, for becoming a demon.
Yeah, he more than likely would go to hell, wouldn't he? Because, God will look on him and say, "Well, you've been naughty boy. You've been a demon for 200 years, so down you go, boy."
Yeah. Yeah, right. Wouldn't be too favorable, I'm sure.
So he's really lost out.
see, if that were me, I would have negotiated better terms.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Thinking of the long run there. Long term.
A long run, right?
Yeah.
He's always like this.
There's
David.
like 200 years. Eternity.
He's a naughty boy.
Yeah. Which would you pick? 200 years, eternity. Let's see here.
Yeah, 200 years.
You might not like being a demon.
Yeah, you don't know.
No, everybody likes the job. Yeah, it's like any other job,
Well, it depends on the benefits.
You can do anything you want.
What are the perks,
Yeah, I know what your perks would be.
Oh, please do share.
Not on the air.
Not on the air. Nice.
And it would mean bad language, and I'm not a swearer.
Yeah, right. You hung around me too long.
Well, I am, but I'm not on the air.
Well, we're actually coming close to the end of the show here. We have 3 minutes. Let me see if I can squeeze in one last question for you, David. Do you ever in your conversations with these angels or with God ever ask the question, why are we here? What's the purpose of this?
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your last question.
Did you ever have an opportunity to ask either God or the angels the ultimate question, why are we here?
No, I mean, you hear that all through Sunday school and church. We're all here to glorify God, I think would be the correct answer. He put us here on earth for a purpose, and the purpose was to have the lost people convert and be able to go to heaven, and to glorify God in any way we can, because he is the creator. So, but I never asked the question. I always felt like I understood it.
Okay, that's fair enough. Well, we have come to the end of the show. So, David, where can people find your book, A Guest in My House?
Okay. It's on Amazon. I'm going to give you the website. It's amazon.com, and you /author/David Guddy, all one word.
Okay.
And you can get
the same in
the
UK, except for UK.
Well, UK would be amazon.co.uk.
Yeah, .co.uk, people.
And then, right, amazon.co.uk. Mm-hmm. And Barnes & Noble is barnesandnoble.com. I think it's on, where is it on? It's on iTunes. It's on iTunes, iBooks. You can get it on iBooks. Books A Million. I don't know if you have that over there, but over here, Books A Million. But the best way, I think, is through iBooks and Amazon. And it's available on Kindle or all the digital downloads, an ebook for $9.99, and the paperback books are all $12.95.
Okay, and have you got a website?
I have a Facebook page. It's going to be on Facebook, and that'll be facebook.com/A Guest in My House.
Okay. And have you got a publisher that it's available through?
Yeah, you can get it through Page Publishing in New York.
Page Publishing.
That's my publisher, yeah.
Okay, I think that's it, isn't it? Covered everything.
Well, David, thank you very much for coming on the show. This has been a really entertaining talk today.
Yeah, it's been absolutely lovely, David. Really, and I've learned a lot today. I've learned a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It opened my eyes.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of things, as like I said, your listeners, as they read the book, have an open mind and don't take anything for granted.
That's right. Well, we should never take anything for granted in this world, let alone the paranormal world.
That's true.
Right. Very true. Well, nice talking to you both.
Well, nice talking with you too, and I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in for this edition of Paranormal UK Radio, airing Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time and Eastern on the Paranormal UK Radio Network, TuneIn Radio, and TalkStream Live. And you can
Planet FM.
And Planet FM and so many others. And of course, if you miss a show, it repeats Monday nights on the Dark Matter Digital Network. Thanks, everybody, and we'll catch you all next week.
Night, peeps.
Bye-bye.
Bye.